It's your first time in an English-speaking country. You're walking around looking for a restaurant to eat at. Luckily, your friend is with you and he's fluent in English. You'll find a restaurant that looks nice and now it's time to order. Wait, what is happening? Your friend just got a call and he rushes off without saying a word, leaving you by yourself. Whoa, what an amazing friend you have. I literally never speak with him again. You have no idea what happened, but it must have been something urgent. But now you have to speak English with someone for the first time. The waiter is coming, but you are extremely introvert. You never know how to practice or improve your English speaking skills because of how shy you are. You always heard advices like just speak or speak with native speakers, but it was never effective. So the waiter comes and he asks you what you like to eat. You're kind of confused. You feel your face turning red. You don't know what to say. You start to stutter and you keep trying to make signs with your hand, but he doesn't get it. You completely freeze and nothing comes out. People around you are looking at you. The waiter is confused and you just realize you've embarrassed yourself in front of everyone in the restaurant. The waiter goes back and finds someone who speaks your language. You feel completely humiliated and embarrassed. Now, this situation almost happened to me once. Being an introvert learning English can be really hard, but I eventually became fluent. So in this video, I want to share with you tricks and secrets that I use to transform my speaking skills in English as an introvert, so you don't have to go through this yourself and feel confident and comfortable speaking English no matter the situation. Because I bet you don't want to go through this, right? This is literally a traumatizing experience for any introvert. And I'm just tired of people's advice saying, just speak with native speakers. You just have to practice. If it was that simple, everybody would be fluent by now, right? So by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do. First, you have to understand your personality as an introvert and why it's so important for you to almost force a change. I want you to imagine your favorite actor, the actor from that movie that you cannot stop watching. Every time that he has to play a character in a movie, he has to embody that character. It's almost like he has to become that person. Sometimes so much so that they take a long time to actually leave the character behind in their own lives. It's kind of scary. So I want you to start looking at life right now like a movie. You are the main character and everyone is playing a character. 99% of people are not truly themselves. We behave in a way around this group of people, then in another way around people that you are more comfortable with. Most likely, when you are by yourself, you are loud, you joke around, and you are yourself 100%. At least that is how it is for me. Then once you leave your house, you put a mask on. So inside your house, you are someone. Then when you leave your house, you're not completely yourself. So you literally put a mask on once you leave your house. And that is one of the biggest problems that you have to face. Being shy and quiet is completely different from being an introvert. Being an introvert doesn't mean that you are shy. It just means that you like to spend more time by yourself. You don't like to go to places with a lot of people. So you have to understand yourself. Are you already shy in your native language, or do you become shy when you try to speak in English? If you are already shy, it's not only about English. You might feel insecure about your looks, you might have bad habits, or maybe you compare yourself to others too much and think you're not good enough. But if you become shyer when you try to speak in English, it's a skill and mindset problem. English is like any other skill. For example, if you don't know how to play the guitar 100%, and for some reason you try to play in front of other people, you're probably not gonna feel very confident, even if you are the most extrovert person in the world. And why it's so important for you to have this personality shift? Because at the core of it, your mask, the character you are playing, might be holding you back. When you speak English, if you always worry about how people perceive you, you are not allowing yourself to truly embody the person that you want to become. Now, I want you to imagine again your favorite actor from your favorite movie. Imagine if he kept holding himself back, refusing to step into the role because they were scared of looking foolish. Would they ever deliver a convincing performance? Of course not. And here's the truth. Nobody cares as much as you think they do. Most people are too focused on themselves to judge you as harshly as you imagine. And even if someone notices your mistakes, it's fleeting. It doesn't define you. The real issue is the fear that keeps you stuck in your comfort zone, repeating the same habits, the same insecurities, the same self-doubt. That fear is your mask. Now think about this. What if instead of hiding behind that mask, you could play a new character, a more confident, fluent version of yourself? What if you could step into this role the same way an actor steps into theirs? But of course, at first it feels unnatural, just like any actor's first rehearsal. But over time, with practice, the character becomes part of you and it feels natural, even effortless. This is why the personality shift is so crucial. When you start acting confident, even if you don't feel confident at first, you begin to break the cycle of shyness. You prove to yourself that you can speak English, even if it's not perfect. Here's the magic. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from showing up every single day, trying and realizing that the word doesn't end just because you make a mistake. So ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to be when you speak English? You want to be that shy version of yourself, that quiet version, or you want to express yourself freely and be, yourself 100%. So you gotta start acting like that person today, because the more you practice this shift, the closer you get to truly become that person. It's not faking or anything, it's just a process of growth. So now I'm gonna give you 2 techniques to care less about what other people think, and for you not to have a problem with this shy introvert part of your personality anymore when you try to speak in English. I did this when I was learning English for the first time and it completely changed my life. The actor's method: embody your fluent persona. What you're gonna do is very simple. You're going to use your imagination to create a character. So maybe write it down. What would you like your character to be like? A character that is fluent in English and has a lot of confidence. So essentially, you're going to pretend that you are an actor. And every time you try to speak in English, you're going to embody that character. What would they say? How would they handle conversation? You're going to start with small steps. Speak in front of the mirror by yourself, record yourself, and when you have the opportunity to really speak in English in real life, you will try to embody this fluent in English version of yourself. If you make mistakes and you are scared, you will not go back to that shy, scared version of yourself. The nobody cares exposure challenge. This one is so simple but it's so effective. It completely changed everything for me. You know how you think a lot of not making mistakes, sounding perfect, and have the best pronunciation? What if you change your mindset and you start thinking about how you can make more mistakes? How you don't want to have the best pronunciation ever, how you don't want to sound perfect. I learned this method with approaching random people that you want to get to know. You know how everyone is afraid of getting rejected and they put too much pressure on themselves that they already go thinking, how can I not get rejected? But this is what I learned. What if you go thinking, I want to get rejected. How many rejections can I get today? You completely shift your approach. So you're not expecting the best outcome. Your goal is a bad outcome. But even though it's bad, it's getting closer to your goals without the frustration of something bad happening. If your goal is to achieve something that you would normally be scared to happen, you will always improve without the pressure of being scared all the time of the worst outcome possible. It's literally an approach that can change everything for you if you think about it. It's literally like, I'm gonna go out there, speak with a native speaker, and my goal is to make as many mistakes as I can. And of course, you're not gonna make mistakes on purpose. You're just gonna go naturally and see what happens. But if you make mistakes, that is your goal. So you're not gonna get frustrated by making mistakes. You're gonna get happy because that was your goal. And you know that the more mistakes you make, you improve faster. And like I said, I learned this with approaching people. So I was like, I don't want to approach that girl. What if she rejects me? And I was like, what if my goal is to get rejected? So my goal is the worst outcome possible. If that happens, okay, that was my goal. But if something better happened, I'm gonna be, okay, that was amazing. I feel like stepping out of your comfort zone is like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. It might seem challenging at first, but you know that each turn, each step, you're getting closer to your goal. Even if you mess up and you have to go back to get it right, it means that you are winning anyway. So every time that you get out of your comfort zone and you get anxious or embarrassed, it doesn't matter as long as you persist and keep moving forward. No matter how comfortable and scary it is, you are getting closer to success. In your comfort zone, well, it's already in the name, comfort. It's comfortable, and that is what your brain wants. I'm gonna give you an example so you can understand better. So with everything in life, we have our comfort zones, right? Our comfort zones. And when you try to speak another language, when you try to learn to speak another language, your comfort zone starts like this, from zero, really, really small. So for example, speaking with other people in English, it's outside of your comfort zone. So every time you try to get out, you're gonna feel uncomfortable. That's why something like recording yourself or silent shadowing is less uncomfortable. So you don't feel too much uncomfortable getting out of your comfort zone by doing that, because it's not something that is completely out of your comfort zone when you're starting out. So everything that you're gonna try to do in English, you're gonna try to do outside of this line. That way, your comfort zone is gonna expand, and everything that you're trying to do before is inside your comfort zone now. So it's more comfortable. And then gradually, you keep doing small things that are going to make you get out of your comfort zone. And over time, they're gonna become something that is just normal for you. You do it with no effort. The first time, it's gonna be really hard. Then the second time, it's not gonna be that hard. Then the third time, the fourth, the fifth, it's not gonna be so much hard for you anymore. That is when you know you have to try new things, things that you think is uncomfortable, things that make you feel uncomfortable all the time. And that way, it's the only way to expand your comfort zone over time, until you get to a point that speaking in front of everyone, speaking with anyone, no matter who it is, it's inside of your comfort zone. That way, you don't get too uncomfortable. But again, you have to start small. You cannot go from level 1 to 10 because you're not that person yet. You're not in a level 10 yet. So you gotta start from 1 and gradually go from 2, 3, 4 until 10. So you cannot become somebody that you're not overnight. So little by little, you're gonna make progress. So for example, when I started making videos, I first started recording myself only for me to see. Once I was like comfortable being on camera a little bit, I was like, okay, now I can post. But I was extremely afraid. I was getting out of my comfort zone, but after a few attempts and videos, that little circle grew. And now I love this. I really enjoy doing this. But before it was the completely opposite. But because I started small and it slowly transitioned to the next step, I expand my comfort zone. And as an introvert, it might not be the best idea to go out there and start talking to everyone out of nowhere. You have to break resistance. And with every step, you are expanding your comfort zone. You want to get to a point where talking to anyone in English is inside of your comfort zone. And then of course, you can start thinking about the next step, speaking in front of a large group on stage. No, I'm kidding. I know this is literally a nightmare. You don't have to do that, but it's something that you can pursue, later on. It's a good thing. But always remember, the more uncomfortable you get, the closer you're getting to achieve what you want. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I've been trying to solve this for days and I can't. As an introvert, especially when you're not living abroad in an English-speaking country, you always have to come up with strategies to make progress. And sometimes living abroad doesn't mean anything, trust me, if you don't do the right thing. I'm telling you, there's so many people living in an English-speaking country right now and they cannot speak a word of English. And if you are watching this and you are living in an English-speaking country, shout out to you because I know you're working really hard. We all know that the best way to practice your speaking skills is with people. But because most people don't live in an English-speaking country, and we are introverts, and sometimes we have to do it by ourselves. So I'm gonna give you 2 techniques that you can start doing today to start making progress in your speaking skills. Silent shadowing with inner monologue practice. So yesterday I was coming back to my house from the gym, and someone asked me, if I'm shy and I get really uncomfortable talking to someone in English right now, can I use some techniques to enhance my speaking skills by myself? I said, of course, but I really think that at some point you should start talking with people, because that is really what we want to do. When I was learning English for the first time, I noticed that I would spend too much time by myself and I would never have the opportunity to really improve. So a method that completely changed everything for me was silent shadowing with inner monologue practice, both together. I'm not gonna lie to you, in the beginning it might be hard, but soon you will develop a habit. Every time that I watched something, I would repeat what the person said, moving my lips without talking. Then I would, in my own head, ask myself questions about that video or that movie or that TV show. Nothing crazy, just to make sure that the content was getting stuck in my head. And I was putting it out there. I made sure that I was not only consuming, but producing as well. Slowly training my brain to get used to the process. And for introverts, it's a piece of cake. No interaction, just you and a computer or phone. But at the same time, you improve your speaking skills, get used to the rhythm, the speed of the language, and you get more ready to speak with people in real life later on. Now, I wish I had done this since the beginning. When you don't have anyone supporting you all the time and giving you feedback, it might be hard to notice anything. Your accent, speed, pronunciation, and mistakes. So one of the best things that you can do is record, reflect, and repeat. For example, for 30 minutes every single day, you're going to record yourself speaking about anything. Then you're going to listen and reflect on how you can do better, the mistakes you made, if you can speak faster. Then you're going to repeat and listen again and see how much your speaking improved since the first time. This will allow you to understand the areas that you have to improve more. And by the way, if you're already comfortable being on camera, it's even better if you record yourself and do the same process. I know so many people who do this and it literally changed their speaking, myself included, especially with this YouTube channel, without even wanting to. I'm improving every time I make a video. But sometimes techniques like this are really good, but not enough for you to really improve your speaking skills. You gotta have something more. So hear me out. I remember I was getting a taxi one day and there was a guy already in the car. I didn't take too much of it. I just got in and the taxi kept going. At that point, I had been studying English for like 6 months, but I had never talked to anyone before in English. So in my mind, I was like, I'm not ready. I'm afraid. There's no way I can do this. So I was just chilling in the car, and then the guy who was already in the car asked out of nowhere, do you speak English? And I was like, no way, no way. It was a surprise because a native English speaker in my hometown where I live, it was really, really rare. It was kind of hard. So I was thinking, no way I'm gonna have to speak English for the first time with someone. And even though I was extremely anxious, I told myself I cannot lose this opportunity. So even with fear, I just went for it. And then we just started talking, a normal conversation. And judging by his face, he was understanding everything that I was saying. And a few minutes later, he got out of the car and I was like, I cannot believe I just had a conversation with a native speaker for like 10 minutes. And it's funny because at the time when I got out of my house, I had this belief that I was not ready and there was no way I would be able to talk. So everything was just in my head, holding me back from achieving what I wanted to achieve. After that experience, I broke the belief that I had and I started to improve faster and take more risks after that experience. Sometimes an introvert's mind works differently than extroverts. For example, introverts can underestimate themselves much more, and therefore they create beliefs in their heads that can block them from improvement. So one thing that you can do is put yourself in situations where you might not believe that you can do it, and just see how it goes. For example, maybe you don't believe that you can talk in English for 15 minutes without making mistakes or without pausing, but you never tried before. What if you start recording yourself and suddenly you do it? And little by little, you start to understand your mind and the beliefs that are limiting you to achieve your true potential. But you gotta be careful though, because sometimes you're not really ready and you can get yourself into situations that are literally a nightmare for introverts. Remember the beginning of the video, you don't wanna get yourself in that situation. So you gotta be really patient and work with small steps instead of going from 1 to 10 right away. Learning English is just a skill like any other skill. You just have to embrace the journey. If it was easy, everybody would do it, like I said before, and that is why it's worth it. That is why it's worth it, because it's not easy. Here's a full guide with every step that you have to go through to speak English with confidence. And if you want more techniques about how to improve your English speaking skills as an introvert, you might want to watch this video next. And I see you very soon.